Hello, this is Year 10 English Epic Analysis, and today for our first ever video on this channel, we'll be analyzing on Finding a Small Fly Crushed in a Book by Charles Tennyson Turner. So before we start, please like and subscribe the video, and yeah, let's go. So for today's video, we're going to start by explaining how the poem explores the concept of death. So I'll start off with explaining two ideas of how the poem explores the concept of death, and then Moritz, Yanai, and Allison will join in after me. So we're going to start off by explaining how the fly was killed accidentally by an unknowing person. So for the first idea, there's a lot of implications, and for one of them, the fact that the person who killed the fly is unknown, we can imagine that it can be anyone at any time could kill anything. We could say humans, plants, or animals can be killed by anyone. Or it could be everyone, right? No person, no one is, let's say, blameless. Everyone has done something wrong in their lifetime, and that could be what the poet is implying. For my second point, it's going to be how the fly's body and wings are described as a monument. So first we need to know what a monument is. So a monument is a structure that commemorates a notable or famous person or event. Alright, so we can see that the poem might be telling us that like when the fly dies, it will still leave something beautiful behind, like its wings. So it could leave behind a symbol. Right? But it could also be a metaphor for nature, meaning that when nature is gone, it will still leave behind something beautiful, something we can remember. While in contrast, humans, we won't leave anything behind that's worth commemorating.
Hi everyone, let me talk about how the fly is blameless and did not die in vain in the poem on finding a small fly crushed in a book. So, now in the title, the fly is described as small, which, makes the reader perceive the fly as weaker and more helpless, because, you'd already assume that, a fly is small, but this reinforcement of it just further supports the idea that it's weak and helpless. Now, in the first two lines, the writer says, "Some hand that never meant to hurt thee has crushed thee between these pages pen." Now, this is saying that it's not the fly's fault that it was killed, but it's the person who closed the book on it. The fly was never meant to die, and it is completely blameless in this scenario. It's merely a case of bad luck. In the line, "pure relics of blameless life," the writer here is talking about the fly's wings. And, the quote, "pure relics" suggests that the wings of this poor innocent fly should not be crushed in some book, but they should be admired as an artifact of blameless life. Now, on the topic of the fly not dying, of the fly dying in vain, and the quote, "But thou hast left thine own fair monument, thy wings gleam out and tell me what thou wert." It suggests that the fly has left, this monument behind, out of great beauty. And the repeated imagery of the wings' beauty and splendor shows that the writer thinks the fly did not die in vain, that the fly left something behind for people to see. Now, this is further supported by lines 6 and 7, which are again admiring the wings' beauty and extravagance. It also suggests the fly is left behind a memory for all to see and wonder at it, again suggesting that the fly did not die in vain.
The author describing the fly's wings as a relic connotes to the holiness of the fly's purpose and natural instincts. This can be described as holy as the fly is doing exactly what God intended it to do. The same way that humans were created to feast on animals weaker than them. The number one purpose for all living organisms is survival. Humans and flies are similar in this way. We do not view us humans eating a steak for dinner as a sin, the same way as a fly does not view biting a forearm as a wrong. On the 5th day of our planet's creation, animals in the sea and ones that fly were created by God. On the 6th day, all other animals were created. God put each living and non-living organisms on earth with its own purpose, making everything as sacred and vital as the next. The historical significance of every organism on this planet cannot be understated. Therefore, our acts of survival cannot be considered as a sin, making flies and humans more similar than we may perceive us to be. The poet states that our death is ever near. A fly does not need to sin for their life to end. They may irritate, however, leaving bites and buzzings in one's ear is not a choice of harm, rather a need to live. In regard to this, it suggests that death does not follow sin, rather death follows natural selection. Non-sinning humans have faced death from natural disasters, diseases, and old age. The fly in this poem, life came to an end from accidentally sitting on a book at the wrong time, the same as a human can find themselves in the ocean at the wrong time, right before a tsunami is about to hit, for example. This reminds the reader that one's mortality is similar to a fly. One does not need to harm in order to be put in danger. Rather, death finds itself to follow the most well-respected and sinless of people. Thank you.
This poet brings up the idea of fate and a set time for death within this poem. The line, "The book will close upon us, it may be," relates the book that's crushed the small fly to the death of all living creatures, especially humans. This is because book can be seen as a metaphor for death, as books are left closed once all their contained knowledge has been read. And for living beings, perhaps once we've lived and made our impact on the world, however big or small, we too are to die and be shut forever. In addition, a book can be observed with connotations of fate as a pre-written story of our own lives, and no matter how hard we fight it, our time will come and death will close upon us. The phrase, "as we lift ourselves to soar away," connotes to a fairy tale world full of joy and relief, but the darker words surrounding the phrase, such as doom and peril, make it evident that that is not the kind of world we live in. We are not necessarily made to have perfect endings for everyone, not for humans, nor for the fly. And this poem enforces the idea of a set story for our lives, but gives absolutely no guarantees that it will be a perfect one. Moving along, as our deaths approach, we will perhaps not give off such beauty or luster as a fly has given off. The poem structures a 12-line sonnet that is split nearly directly in half, with one part describing the beauty of a fly's corpse and the other part describing the fatal demise of human lives. The juxtaposition between these segments suggests that not only do blameless creatures like the fly create breathtaking monuments for remains, but that we humans are the complete opposite. We will never form such lustrous relics when we reach our deaths. The fly may have been blameless, but humans have much to be blamed for, including crushing the very fly mentioned in the poem. By reading the title, "On Finding a Small Fly Crushed in a Book," readers can infer that a human crushed a small feeble fly without a second thought or a hint of concern for the life they just ended. This highlights the destructive nature of humans, who perhaps don't deserve to gleam or shine once we die.